Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to DNAVerse. We have an amazing episode today prepared for you. Our guest, it's all about technology and data. Has been for over 20 years, has been leading consulting software and data engineer teams across multiple companies, including IBM and Sephora. Has been always working close with board members and C-level. This person is a top executive that delivers results by articulating strategic direction at all levels in the company. He's currently the CTO and shareholder at Szentia as a B2B technology-based solution to enhance the beauty industry with, I will believe, with blockchain and Web3. Really looking forward to hearing what he has to tell us. And he's also the co-author of a book. It's called B2B Solutions Using WebSphere Business Connection. And Babes Ambassador. It's a fantastic NFT collection with a massive utility that I encourage you to check. So his name is Ali Bouhouch. Ali, welcome to DNAVerse.
Thanks for that generous introduction, Juan. Glad to be here.
My pleasure. You have an extensive profile and a really dilated career, and I did honor to your profile. So if there's something missing, please go ahead and tell the audience a bit something else about yourself. But anyway, it's my pleasure to have somebody like you today with us, and probably everybody, including myself, I'm going to be learning so much from you.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's mutual learning experience for all of us.
Fantastic. Glad to hear that. So if you want to just go ahead, Ali, and maybe tell us something about your journey and how did you end up where you are today?
So my journey into Szentia was basically through just being active in the technology community. And then a friend of mine asked me to help with due diligence on a company that he was thinking about investing in. That company happens to be Szentia. As part of due diligence, I got to know the company a little bit more intimately than I would have otherwise. I loved the idea of the product. I loved actually the main founders and the team. And winded up as part of the deal for my friend investing in a company is to get involved as an advisor. And eventually, as we worked together, liked each other and winded up making a commitment to come in as a CTO, help modernize the platform, get it to a point where it can scale to the enterprise level. And that's how I got involved with Szentia.
So basically, it was not a vision that one day you had an idea and then you implemented. Basically, the solution came to yourself, or the idea, and then you slowly bought in the project and you liked it and you participated, you invested, now you're active member of the board and said, let's do this, right? This brought this sort of aha moment when you can connect with Web3 blockchain and give more utility to this industry.
Absolutely. So again, sometimes some of these accidental meetings are actually much better and more effective than some of these pre-planned and scheduled events. The interesting thing is, again, I would love to take credit for everything that happens at Szentia, but the reality is, as you guys know, it's a team effort and nobody has monopoly on great ideas. Everybody has a contribution to make. And when it's done in a way that is synergistic, teams actually create a lot more value than individuals. And for us at Szentia, really what we started with is a simple idea of, if you look at how the world is being digitized, right? We're all looking, if you just look around yourself, I'm using a smartphone to communicate with you right now. And of course, I'm wearing a smartwatch. Just a few minutes ago, I was watching a football match on my smart TV. Everything is smart, except when you look at consumer packaged goods, they're still the same dumb, uninteractive products that we've known for the last 300 plus years. Actually, the packaging has improved slightly from a mechanical and materials perspective, moving from packaging things into organic materials all the way to maybe plastics at the turn of the 20th century, and then now advanced metals, aluminum and things like that. But other than that, packaged goods haven't gotten any intelligence into them. So one of the things that we think is the next revolution, especially for user experience, is by bringing intelligence all the way to that edge. And as we bring intelligence to the edge, because most of the experiences we have today, intelligence is actually in some backs. Most of what these devices do is they mediate an interface to some server in the back, including this platform now we're using for the podcast. But what we believe has to happen is we need to push actually intelligence more to the edge so that it becomes more pervasive. A good example of why that matters is, imagine if you have a container and that container has some food, and you have, for example, a milk container, just to take a product that most of us are familiar with. With milk, we've all had the experience of having purchased milk and traveling for a week or so and coming back and having totally forgot that you purchased that milk a couple of weeks ago. Open the refrigerator, take the bottle of milk, put it in a glass, or directly not in a glass, depending on your drinking habits. And then you take a sip, and it's only after you take a sip that you realize that you're having a very uncomfortable experience of knowing that you have expired milk in your mouth, and now you got to spit it out, rinse your mouth, and all of that stuff. But you're having an uncomfortable and an annoying consumer experience. Now imagine if that container had enough smarts just to tell you that the contents of that container have it. And then you can decide what you want to do with it. Yeah, you can take that milk, convert it into buttermilk, take butter out of it, make it into yogurt, I don't know, or you can just put it into the sink. But at least you're avoiding having that shocking, uncomfortable, disgusting experience. What part of that psychological experience spectrum you're in?
Yeah.
But to us, this is just the beginnings of a totally new set of experiences, intelligent experiences consumers are going to be having with their CPG products, where the container will know the contents, both in terms of basic property, how much of the content is being used, when the content is being used, will give you directions about how to use the content properly, will know what state the content is. And again, as you can add more and more sensors into a smart dispenser head, for example, it will tell you actually that you better use this product because it's about to expire in 24 hours, right? You don't wait until things have gone bad before you have to react to it. And this is what we believe is going to be the future of all products.
The fast food consumer industry has been evolving. And as you were pointing out, the packaging has not evolved. It's not giving you any structure, it's just a container. As you said, maybe
Exactly.
the material, maybe it's more recycled, more organic, whatever. But the utility to the customer beyond the recycling of the environmental issue that we have in hand, is not providing any value to them. So
Exactly.
I think what you're trying to do is to customize the experience more and to give a more personalized experience, not only to create awareness of the product, expiring dates or whatever, but it's also involving the client, right? Involving
Exactly.
the consumer there.
And it's interesting because as we started exploring this whole array of possible experiences, that's actually when we discovered actually you can go beyond just that and start actually involving the consumer in actually designing and defining what the contents of that product is. And that's where it became interesting. So for example, one of the things actually we're collaborating with Babes is to launch actually the first perfume where you can do your own layering. Yeah. So the idea again is with fragrance creation and layering is if you provide the consumer with, let's assume 3 bases, and it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5. Then what happens is you could do mixes where you could do, for example, 1 spray of this base, 2 sprays of the second one, 1 spray of the third one, and then suddenly now you may find a combination that actually expresses a certain feeling, a certain mood, right?
Yeah.
So before it was hard to reproduce that because it's hard to remember what you did. But now, because if you have a smart dispenser, we know exactly what you did, and we know exactly the amount that was dispensed, and we can replay that as opposed to having to physically, mechanically having you to do that. And that opened up a whole world of possibilities, because not only you can replay that with fidelity, that's number one, but number two, you can share that with your friends. And if they have the same kind of smart dispenser head, then you share the combination with them, And then that combination gets played by the smart dispenser head, and they get exactly what you have. And for the first time, you can have this distributed shared experiences where I get to experience exactly what you experienced. And it is
Yeah.
fantastic. And as we all know, olfactive experiences are actually the most ancient and the most fundamental that touch the reptilian part of the brain that actually has the strongest associated memories, whether it's memories with fantastic positive experiences or scary horrible experiences.
Yeah.
But these are some of the things that actually that's so deep within the neurological structure of human beings that it gets to move human beings at an emotional way in ways that other things can't. And we're exploring other things beyond that. And this is just one example. And we think you add to that the fact that you can use now Web 3.0, the metaverse, where you can have these shared experiences with your friends in a gamified manner. So suddenly now it becomes a game. You can have either famous people have their own combination and then they can share it with people. You can create your own combination. And this is again where it becomes so important. What's so important about Web 3.0 is it enables every participant to be a creative agent. And this is so important because this is fundamental to what it is to be a human being. You remove creativity out of human beings, they become just normal animals that
Absolutely.
you can find in a zoo. But with creativity, whether it's artistic or technical or otherwise, what you have is a fundamental element that brings human beings to life. And when you can do that and do it in a way that is gamified, that is rewarded, and that's where blockchain comes in, so you can track. So I can create actually, we're creating the first olfactive NFTs so that when I generate a certain combination, I can register that. It's registered on the blockchain and it's registered to me and my identity. And therefore, as people like it and if they want to adopt it, I can be rewarded for that success.
Absolutely. You're
I,
talking about customization. You're talking about giving the, I would say, the property, the ownership of your work. You're talking about content. You're talking about gamification. All this is included in Web3, right? And I
Absolutely.
believe, yeah, I believe what you are mentioning, I would say that you have two legs right now, which is technology, which is the Internet of Things. You're bringing this to life. You are giving a physical structure to the technology, and then data. You are data collecting. You are using this data through blockchain or constructed on blockchain to gamify, to route this in different directions, which is, in my opinion, ultimately is the user experience. This will boost the user experience. It will attract the community. You will interact within groups, within tribes. You will be able to, as I say, to portray yourself in different many ways and customize. And this is something that at DNAVerse we have. It's our mantra. I would say we are giving away this key to enter the metaverse with your own experience, bring people into your own meta world, I would say, and keep enhancing this experience for everybody, not only for yourself. And it's something that we want to believe that it will attract as many as possible, because we are seeing this boost of anonymity in Web3. We have seen people don't want to disclose, don't want to show themselves, but at the same time, we are seeing this wave rising of, no, we need to put ourselves out there. We need to show who are the developer, who is behind the project, who is. So I think we are in this on the brink of, okay, this is not a joke anymore. This is an industry. As we were talking before the podcast, we have hubs like Dubai that are doing things. They're just putting the regulation. They're bringing talent. They are attracting companies there, but in a legal and proper way. We need to set the rails of the new wall. I think your analogy was the railroad in the US. We need to set these railroads, and then we start building and starting the highway communication between each other in a legal way. And this is something really important, that let's not remain anonymous. Let's bring solutions for the end user, and in a secure way, obviously, because it's blockchain. We don't want to have data leaks. We don't want to have breaks into the insecurity or breaches. So what do you think is the combination? Do you think technology depends on data, or maybe data depends on technology, or the Internet of Things could solve many problems, but we are not there yet? What do you think? What's the equilibrium here?
I really believe that data has preceded technology because data and information is actually the essence from a physics perspective. The essence of the universe actually is information before it even takes materiality.
Yeah.
And that's why if you look at the edges, if you want to understand any complex system, you look at actually the edge conditions. And the edge conditions in the universe are black holes. What you see when, for example, an object, and I'm talking about massive objects here, like a star, like a neutron star that's collided or passing by a black hole, when it actually goes beyond the horizon, which is basically goes into oblivion, the most interesting thing about that is that all the information required to recreate that object is actually transcribed on actually the periphery of that black hole. So information is never destroyed, just like energy is never destroyed or created. It's just recycled. And because of that, it's fundamental to understand that we have to be in sync with the universe. We have to exploit the architecture of the universe so that we can create things that are harmonious, not just at the planet level, but even at the global level. So from that perspective, technology becomes just a certain artifact transforming the base core energy, which is information, and then how you use that information to evolve new systems, new structures, so that you can further convert energy, convert information, and make that as something that creates, again, for this amazing creature that happens to be conscious. And again, we don't know what other aspects of the universe are conscious, but that's for another podcast. But for us, at least, who are conscious of each other's consciousness, that's what makes, again, human beings quite unique. What's amazing is that we can create experience. And that's why, again, everything that we do is actually centered about that experience, that user experience. Because it's experience actually that defines everything, whether something is successful or not, whether something is going to have value because people want to repeat it, because people seek it and they're attached to it. And unfortunately, that happens for both positive experiences, like what we're having right now, a fantastic conversation where we're connecting both intellectually and emotionally, or negative experiences like addiction. It's also an experience. And we have to understand these things. And this is, again, where it becomes one of the topics you and I, Juan, have spoken about before, which is the importance of mental health. We need to understand, again, how the technologies we create interact with the psychology of the user and how we can create experiences that actually are healthy for the user, not just physically, but also mentally.
Absolutely.
And creating a balance. The interesting thing is, I was speaking to a psychologist in California. She mostly deals with kids, and she deals with kids who have problems focusing because they've become addicted to video games or things like that. But what the amazing thing, again, because some people think that, oh, you're just trying to badmouth the gaming industry. Absolutely not. Because the amazing finding of more than 5 years of research that she's done is that actually you could use the same technology, gamification, to actually help correct exactly that addictive behavior and replace it with a healthier behavior where actually the user is in charge of how they interact with these experiences. And that's what gives maturity to that experience interaction. And that's what we want. We want to use technology not to replace what healthy human behavior is, but actually to augment it, to amplify what's positive, and to minimize what's negative.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got really valid points here. And I think one of them is the data. How do we use the data to see results and to act upon those, right? Because I believe I saw on your LinkedIn page a sentence, like a mantra, was called that you can manage what you can measure. When we are seeing now the result or the consequences of many actions, and now studies are saying, okay, we can apply this instead of in this direction because we've seen this studies or this research. We can apply, as I say, for learning, having a more immersive learning experience for kids instead of using the gamification only for leisure or for hobbies, right? And this is a direction that I think this technology is allowing everybody. You were talking about mental health, you're talking about being through the last years, obviously the mental well-being or mental balance has been not stable because we have been suffering tremendous distress in our lives. And I think everybody started to look into other direction, which is in this case NFTs, web blockchain communities. And we saw that from the DNAVerse, like we are trying to give this solution of know yourself better, and then we provide you the tools to start improving your life. And this is something that we have really embedded in our, as you say, we are experiencing human beings, we are experiencing to each other, we are connecting in different layers and different levels. And this is the beauty of this, right? You can cross over disciplines. In this case, you're talking about data. I'm coming from the marketing side. And I totally agree. Without the data, you don't know how to approach the industry or the segment that you are trying to sell to. This is, in my opinion, this is a challenge because we are transitioning a huge industry. And the industry we are for, I would say, Web 1.2, it's more a general concept now. We are mentioning so much Web3. I think we are transitioning to technologically into a direction that everybody should start being more aware. And I think the big corporation, the big company, the industry should be transitioning as well and be tagged along because they are also dragging this massive consumption of this massive audience behind. I think we are the initiators, and then as soon as the big companies are jumping in, it would like to be the drive. How do you see I would say the challenges in the beauty industry to adapt what you're doing, but also in the big corporation to adopt the blockchain in a useful way, not in a on the rails behind the back end that nobody sees. It's something bringing massive utility to the end user. You are in the consuming industry, so you have a good opinion on this.
The thing is, we have two things, in my opinion. Number one, we have to be humble and understand that during a transition, which is exactly like you described, what we're going through now, that there's going to be difficulties. And if we're pioneering new technology, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to have bugs, it's going to have imperfections. We don't fully understand the consequences of what we do. And we require that humility. Actually, successful innovation requires actually the passion, that you have to be passionate about what you want to do. But that passion needs to be balanced with the humility to know that you don't know everything, you don't control all the parameters. And because of that, you have to be willing to be learning from the failures that you're facing, as opposed to be in denial that there is any failure and start claiming that the technology is perfect. People who don't understand this technology are the ones who are having problems with it, not necessarily.
But at the same time, the blockchain, sorry to interrupt you, the blockchain is not the magic potion, right? This is not a technology falling out of the sky as, okay, problem solved. We still have companies, we have people building, we have experience, people with profile. You need to learn, you will have mistakes. Companies will fail. I would say
absolutely
90% of companies fail at the beginning in the first year. So this is no different. This is just bringing a product or a service across different channels or built on different technology. And this is something that I believe the NFT, I would say, wave during the last year, it was misleading because everybody could just create a collection and then sell it and raise millions of dollars. And I think that was misleading the audience in a way of, guys, people, we are building something important. It takes time.
Look, every time there is an introduction of new technology, there's definitely plenty of opportunity to abuse that. The reason being is, again, with human society moves a lot more slower than individual innovators. And because of that, human society is what creates the governance structures, whether it's political structures, legal structures, ethical and social structures that govern how we behave within that social contract. The challenge is, again, like I said, these things evolve very slowly. And that's why for us as the pioneers who are on the bleeding edge of technology, we need to be willing to wear multiple hats. One of the key hats that we have to wear is we need to be reaching out to people who are in governance, as in governments, legal entity, universities that teach ethics and law, so that they can understand what is this impending transition and change that's happening, so that we can have structures, governance that limits the people who have bad intentions to exploit the technology in bad ways. Otherwise, it gives technology a bad name, and then it delays the proper adoption of the good use of that technology. So we could sit here and criticize government and politicians and say, oh, like somebody was telling me, oh, they're idiots, they will never get this. I don't subscribe to that view.
I disagree. Yeah.
Yeah, my view is we, the innovators, the creators, have to take full responsibility of our creations, reach out across this digital gap and educate everybody, educate
Build
people in
bridges, right?
academia.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just like what we're doing now, whether it's through conferences, podcasts, informal conversations. Go introduce yourself to lawyers, ethicists, universities. We have to reach out because for these people, what we do looks like black magic. It's something that nobody understands. And with the human psychology, we fear things that we don't understand. And fear, of course, fear is the number one enemy of progress.
I think I don't know if it's fear. I think it's more caution, right? It's like being precautioned for one thing that you don't understand, and it takes time. Probably, in my opinion, first of all, we fear risk, and once you take, there are uncertainties and that you don't understand. Probably happens to you as well. I've been involved in blockchain or crypto for 5 years, and every day now I'm still learning NFTs, new projects, new applications, and you cannot be connected every day, 24 hours, and say, okay, what's going on? What projects are going on? What is this? What is this not including in the regulation or in the bill that we just passed yesterday? Why this is not okay? So this technology is kind of allowing this tremendous space to be creative that is evolving at such a pace that what was good yesterday, today is obsolete or already old news. And I think in this regard, what we need to build is the base, help each other construct, build bridges with every entity. This is not a libertarian movement. This is a movement of technology that is going to bring so much adoption in and so much application in different ways across every industry. And as soon as this is understood, like Dubai is understanding at the moment, this will be adopted. And I would like to take it back to the customization, because you are in the beauty industry at the moment and we are in the genetic industry. You know what we're doing at DNAVerse, we're trying to personalize NFTs with genetics and give this utility behind. What do you think about the project that we're doing here at DNAVerse, and how do you see genetics or I would say information could even help more the beauty industry? For example, we are giving this amazing report about nutrition, well-being, but also pharmacological, how do you say, allergies, intolerances. Maybe some products will also help to be connected through beauty. Also, okay, we need to have a more genetic, thorough understanding of who am I to adapt the products that I'm consuming in a better way. What's your view on this?
You're absolutely correct. Genetics actually is the most intimate biological fingerprint that we have. And if we use it properly as a base of information for personalization, you can't get any more personal than that. As a matter of fact, there is tremendous opportunities for collaboration, especially when it comes to things like skincare. 5-10 years from now, we're going to look back at how people are doing skincare today and we're going to laugh that this is ridiculous. Why? Because skin is a very dynamic organ. Most people don't think about their skin as an organ. Actually, it's the largest organ. It's a very dynamic organ. And the only way actually you can actually treat it and treat it properly is by understanding the genetics behind it. And it's only through genetics that you can have actually personalized skincare. And definitely there is ideas that we're working, and we would love to explore collaborations with you and other people who work in this space, because I think there's tremendous opportunities to have effective treatment. As a matter of fact, I was talking to somebody at Stanford University who was talking about the future of medicine. Future of medicine is going to be totally personalized, and it's going to be personalized based on your genetic profile, amongst other things. Of course, you got your biome within your digestive system, as well as your skin biome as well, the fauna that's in that fantastic organ. And what you'll find out is in the future, no one is going to be dispensing these generic medicines that work for everybody. You cannot buy medicine off the shelf anymore. It's going to be created specifically for you based on your particular environment, your particular biome, your particular genetic code, because that's really what needs to be done so that we can have medication that doesn't have any side effects, that's optimized for working organically, not only with
Yeah.
you as an organism, but with the whole ecosystem where you happen to live.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the personalization on applications include healthcare, biotechnology, and I think that the more we know in the space and the more we investigate, the more we see the applications. As I said, healthcare could be done bio telemedicine, maybe in the metaverse. Somebody you can just click a button and have an assistant right away. Not talking about only medicine, but as you were mentioning before, well-being, mental health. Have a community like ours. You just put yourself in there. We'll help you. You have a community helping you there. So the space that is opening before our eyes, it is fantastic, and including the metaverse. You were talking about Essence before, and I think I saw a project developing some sort of machine that you connect to your VR headset, and then it will recreate some sort of essence. If you're in a forest or you are, this could be also applied to beauty. I would say. What do you think is I would say the application of the metaverse for beauty? Do you think it could be at some point something that, okay, we have avatars. In our case, we personalize them with genetics. We give you a genetic sound, for example. What about beauty?
I think the work, for example, we did at Sephora with Modiface, which is basically, first of all, using AR to map a consumer's face and then have them have amazing experiences like trying on different types of cosmetics on their face and see what it looks like, realistic look like on their face without ever touching a product. And of course, little did we know how vital that would be in a pandemic environment. But things like that, definitely. That's number one. Number two, we at Szentia are actually collaborating. Unfortunately, we're under NDA, so I cannot disclose the details. But we're collaborating with a company in California that actually is doing cosmetics for Metaverse, which is basically doing cosmetics for your avatar. And hopefully, once this collaboration comes to fruition, we will make some interesting announcements about that. But you can imagine the possibilities. So the possibilities go both ways, where we can either mediate experiences, virtual experiences, that allow you to virtually experience a product before you ever touch it.
Yeah,
that's one. Or the other way around, of actually seeing what your product, your favorite product, would look on your avatar, or getting a look on your avatar that is authentic to what your personality is as you would express it in your normal life. And those interactions are going to blur to the point where you're going to have a hard time differentiating experiences that are mediated in the metaverse versus actually experiences that you're having in real. Because at the end of the day, this is the important point I want to mark before we close. Experience actually happens in your brain, and it doesn't matter whether it's an experience that you're mediating through your sensor input systems, whether it's your eye, your skin, for haptic experiences and so on and so forth, or it's totally mediated through a technology that, of course, you connect to a set of goggles or a glove that allows you to have haptic experience or something like that. At the end of the day, to the brain, there is very little that allows you to differentiate between those two experiences. And as technology matures and its level of accuracy and fidelity goes up, it's going to be impossible to differentiate those at the cognitive level. Absolutely. And that's where it becomes amazing.
Yeah, and this is why we're doing what we're doing, right? Like, eventually the vision is human very, and start personalizing this experience to your genetics and to your environment. Ali, has been a pleasure. I know we have been already 45 minutes in the making here, but as I said in the introduction, your profile, your experience is amazing, and it's adding tremendous value to the industry and to this ecosystem that we're living in. I would love to keep discussing with you, but it will be hours here. I just want to thank you and leave it here, but not before encouraging everybody to give you a follow. That you will put your social media handles here, and please follow Ali, because it's I would say, as an eminence in the space, and he's doing something tremendously valuable for, I would say, for what we're living in, right? The times that we're living are really exciting, and this is one more application for our daily life. So Ali, if you want to say something else, but it has been a pleasure.
Thank you for the opportunity, and again, I would love to continue this conversation. This is just the beginning of this beautiful and interesting conversation, and I think there is tremendous opportunity for the whole community to contribute. It's not just about few individuals, it's about all of us collectively coming together and creating something that's a lot more powerful and more beautiful than any one of us can.
Fantastic. I really agree with you. So for the rest of the audience, thanks again for being with us. This is Juan Castillo, and I will see you soon in the next episode of DNAVerse Metaverse. So Ali,
All right.
thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.